Hello everyone, this is Prasad and I welcome all of you for another lecture on hybrid electric vehicles. In previous lecture, we have understood what are different types of AC motors. We have understood AC motors are the one which are converting the alternating current electricity into the mechanical energy. We also understood depending on how you provide supply to the rotor, there are different types of AC motors. Like if you are having a DC supply being provided to the rotor, whereas AC supply to the stator, then it is a synchronous motor. We also understood that if the rotor has a permanent magnet, then it is called as permanent magnet synchronous motor. And we also understood the third type of AC motor, that is called as induction motor, wherein there is EMF getting induced in the rotor, which is producing magnetic field. So rotor and stator are producing magnetic field. Those are linking together and there is formation of torque. Okay, so we understood AC motors in previous session. Before that, we have understood the DC motors, we have understood DC series and DC shunt motor. And in today's lecture, we are going to understand different types of motors which are nothing but permanent magnet synchronous motor, the BLDC motor and the switch reluctance motor. So let's start the session. Let's understand the permanent magnet motors. So here the permanent magnet motors are mostly using high energy magnets, okay, such as rare earth based magnets, and a permanent magnet machine drive can be designed. So here you can find there are two ways you can have permanent magnet machines. First is called as PMSM motor, which is permanent magnet synchronous motor. In this motor, whatever back EMF gets generated is sinusoidal. And we have understood what is back EMF already when we learned the DC motor. Okay. And in case of BLDC motor, which is a brushless DC motor, there the back EMF that is getting generated is a trapezoidal. Okay, so there are two ways you can have permanent magnet motors. One is PMSM and other is BLDC. Now, what is difference? The PMSM motor is running on AC supply and the BLDC motor is running on DC supply. Please understand, PMSM motor is a type of AC motor and the BLDC motor is a type of DC motor. The only difference between the normal DC motor or conventional DC motor and the BLDC motor is that the BLDC motor is not having brushes, it is not having commutator. So we are using permanent magnets, but also it comes up with some challenges, advantages and disadvantages. So further, if you understand why we are moving towards permanent magnet motor, first and most important, they are having higher efficiency. You will find most of the electric two-wheelers and three-wheelers are using these types of motor. And if these motors or if you want lesser performance or the limited performance is required, then most of these are using BLDC motor. To name, like Hero Electric is using BLDC hub motors, Ampere is using BLDC hub motor, many scooters of Okinawa are having BLDC motors. Also, if you see Ather, Ola, TVS iQube, TVS iQube is using BLDC, but Ather and Ola, these are using PMSM motors. Okay, so PMSM motors and BLDC motors, both of these are having better efficiencies as there are permanent magnets. So as permanent magnets are there, no additional energy is required to excite the rotor or stator wherever you place the permanent magnet, depending on that. Whereas in case of normal motors, you have to have two magnetic fields and both of the magnetic fields are provided by applying the flow of current. Here, as we are having one permanent magnet on one of the either stator or the rotor, you are saving energy. So efficiency is more. Then there is a high power density. Now, what is power density? It is kilowatt per kilogram, or in simple words, watt per gram. Okay, so the lesser amount of weight is required for more amount of power. They are having higher power density. We have learned this term when we understood the battery. Okay, battery energy storage system. We understood two important terms. One is nothing but the energy density and other is nothing but the power density. So these are having higher power density. Then control is easy, cooling is easy, maintenance is less because there are no brushes, there is no commutator, there is no friction, there is no what you can say sparking. Maintenance is easy, longevity is good, okay, and reliability is also higher as compared to conventional AC and DC motors, and noise is also less. If you consider some disadvantage also, it is very important that as you are having higher efficiency, you are using rare earth materials, they are going to have higher amount of cost. So here you can see the disadvantage is higher amount of cost. There is limited constant power range. the range over which it can deliver higher constant power is very less, then it is possibility that the permanent magnets that you are using may get demagnetized. Okay, then it will lead to loss of motor operation. Then high speed capability is lesser in this case. Mostly in case of BLDC motors are having lesser capability of achieving higher speed. Even I would say PMSM are better than BLDC because PMSMs are providing better performance. Okay, but we are considering here advantages and disadvantages for all the permanent magnet motors, whether it is PMSM or it is BLDC. There is possibility that there is an inverter failure because it is the electronics component, so there is little bit issue if you are not using components of inverters which are of good quality, and of course safety is the concern.